Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and this could be a difficult day, but first of all, the Kickstarter is coming to an end. So in about 28 hours after this video goes out, it will be over, and you will no longer have a chance to order Cracking the Cryptic's Greatest Hits Volume 2, the book, which you can get either in the normal binding or spiral bound. Do check it out if you just left it till the end to decide to commit. It would be great if we've already got past the Simon plays guitar stretch goal, which is fantastic. But there is another stretch goal when we get to, as well as Simon reading poetry, which is great as well. We're never going to get to me doing Dance Dance Revolution, but we may get to the same total as last time, which will trigger us to do a second series of podcasts. They were very popular. You can still check out the first series on the channel, and we may go through some of the same data, but I think there are more stories to tell, so it will be good fun. And you know, it would be great to get into that. So if you've been hesitating, if you've been wavering, if you're not sure whether you want it, the answer is yes, you do want the book. And sign up now, pledge to the Kickstarter, give it a go. That is going on. Now, why is this a difficult day? I can still hear the drilling next door. The workers have not gone there for the day, but I have to do this video now. My voice was terrible when I woke up and has got slightly better during the day, but I am almost certainly going to need some liquid refreshment as we go. Sore throat is very much continuing. And the puzzle I'm doing is one that Simon suggested I have a go at because he thinks his video... Well, no, I mean, the rumour is his video is a bit shorter than usual today, so he suggested I do a harder than usual one. And this one has been lined up potentially in that category. Now, I don't know. Maybe it won't be, but that's what we think. It's by Pietato, who's featured a couple of times on the channel before. The last one was a sort of Squid Games version, I think. And this one has got an intriguing loop rule. Oh, there was something I wanted to show you. Yes, I am going to show you something based on yesterday's puzzle, because I thought it was quite an interesting point that somebody made in the comments. This was the puzzle that Ard van de Wetering's 78th birthday, and I managed to solve this okay. This is not an apology video, that's what I want to say. But it is a very interesting deduction that I didn't spot that could have been very helpful. And it was pointed out by a couple of people, including Lucas, who expressed it fairly clearly, that this cell here, where does that appear in box 9 down here? Well, not in those cells by Sudoku. It's not an 8, so it's not there. Now, it cannot be in these cages because, as we discussed during the video, these 3 cages have to be the 3 different flavours of 7. One of them is a 1-6, and one of them is a 2-5, and the other one, because of that cell can't be the same as any of those, must be the other flavour. So this is all the flavours of 7, and therefore that can't appear in either of those cages. The only place it can appear in this box is therefore here. And this means that whatever is in that cell is up here somewhere, not in the 8 cages. Lucas drew a conclusion that this was 1-7 as a result of that. Now, I didn't quite see how that was available, but I thought that was a very interesting point just to make about yesterday's puzzle before I get to today's. Some other people did just quite a lot of work thinking about this 7 cage and got the breakthrough in the central box that way, which just goes to show there are plenty of ways to skin a cat, as they used to say, and there's often more than one way to go about a Sudoku puzzle. The way we do may not be the best way, or the way you do it, but we are just trying to solve them, and it's delightful that you sometimes accompany us on our solves and see what we do to try and solve puzzles. And if you've learnt more than us and can solve them better ways, do feel free to comment. We're very interested all the time. So, anything else to mention? There's the apps. You can check those out on the links under the video. There was something else I was going to mention. I did attend the Creating a Cryptic Crossword with a Celebrity by John Halpin a couple of nights ago with Jack Fox, who was brilliant, by the way. Jack Fox was an absolute star in that video. But it was utterly intriguing to see how John Halpin goes about creating a puzzle with some thematic content and brilliant suggestions from the audience as well. John will be doing another of those in the middle of next month, and we will trail it before that happens. I think it's going to be very popular, and it was a Zoom call, and John would sometimes let people contribute suggestions and ideas by unmuting them and so on, and it really went very well. It was very interesting. Looking forward to another of those. There is always, of course, that's what I was going to mention, because this puzzle has a loop in it. A loop is a bit like a snake, and I have been doing a ton of snake puzzles recently because I have been testing the next Patreon reward. So you still have a few days left to enter, well, 2 and a bit days left to enter the 12 Labours of Hercules. But next month's hunt is going to be a series of snake-based puzzles, and I think you're going to love them because I did. Really interesting stuff, and I have been enjoying drawing snakes in grids for a while. Now, let's have a look at the rules of this puzzle, Sloopoku by Pietatu. Normal Sudoku rules apply, and that's the numbers 1 to 9 in every row, column, and 3x3 box. A clue outside the grid shows the sum of the digits sandwiched between the 1 and the 9 in the corresponding row or column. So for this column, this would be possible, for instance. You'd have a 1 there and a 9 there. The digits sandwiched between them add up to 9. So that would make that clue valid, the 9 clue anyway. So that's sandwich Sudoku, but there's one more rule. Draw a loop through every cell except the cells that contain the digit 1. The loop is not allowed to branch, intersect, or cross itself. So that's going to go through 72 cells of the grid, because I know the grid has 81 cells and there will be 9 ones. So there's 72 left. And that loop must sort of traverse all of the cells of the grid in some way, but never touching a cell with a 1 in it, but catching every other cell. So that's a really interesting constraint, and I can't really work out in my mind how that's going to play with the sandwich Sudoku, but do give it a try on the link under the video. Do feel free to turn on the pen tool to draw the loop, which I'm going to do now. And yeah, give it a go. It's the first link. Try it out. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. So, forget the loop for a moment. You see, I say that and I start thinking about the loop. The only thing I know is you can't put a 1 somewhere like there, because the loop would then die in the corner. I'm just going to explain that actually, because I've just thought of it. If you had a 1 there, the loop, well, it wouldn't have to come that way, but it would have to catch that cell, and it couldn't loop on anywhere else. So there'll never be a 1 in a cell next to a corner. That's what I'm going to say for now. Oh, I can't get rid of that. Sorry. There we go. So I don't know much about the loop. I know one tiny fact. Now, what I know about sandwich Sudoku is that when you get 31 or above, like this row, all of these cells cannot contain 1 or 9. Now I'm going to colour them green. I'm a bit nervous in this puzzle that the colouring is going to get a bit weird, because if I try and make 1s, I would normally make 1s and 9s the same red, perhaps. But 1s are different from 9s because 1s act in the loop rule and 9s don't. So maybe I need different colours somehow. I don't know what to do. Anyway, for now, I will be focusing on green cells as not containing 1 or 9. It's the same in this 32 column. In fact, yeah, it's worth explaining that you may already know the secret, which I've occasionally told some of my closest friends, that every row, column and box in a Sudoku adds up to 45, because by rule it contains 1 to 9, and they always add up to 45. Now, a corollary of that is that the maximum sandwich sum, when 1 and 9 are the crusts of the sandwich in a Sudoku, is 45 minus 1 and 9, so 35. Now that means that the only removal from that maximum sandwich of 35, if you have a clue like 32, is the number 3, the digit 3 even, because 1 is not available to be removed. That's a fixed crust number. So what that means is that only one of these numbers is outside the 2 red cells, the 1 and the 9. And that number is a 3. So 3 in this column must appear in one of those 2 cells. Now the same applies if the clue is 31 or 33, but with a different outie. The outie in this row is going to be a 4, because again, 1, 3 is not an option for 2 cells as the outies, so 4 is a single outie. And either those 2 are the 1 and 9, or those 2. Now it is possible for that to be 1 and 9, acting for both the column and the row, in which case that will be 3 and that will be 4. And I think that works fine. You would have 1 and 9 in those cells. Now the alternative is that you have, that is green, not 1 or 9, and then you will have 1 and 9 in these cells and in these cells. And that's where you run into the problem. That's lovely, actually. I think this must be a vital way of breaking through in this puzzle, because you cannot put 1 and 9. Let me just show you what happens. If you put 1 and 9 in those cells, it doesn't matter about the colouring. Let's say that was the 1 and that was the 9. I'm going to make it yellow. Oh, yellow's a bad choice. Let's make it purple. Right. Now, I'm going to say that red is the 1 and purple is 9. Now, this doesn't work for the reason I was explaining up here. If that's a 1, this cell is in the loop, but it can't connect with 2 cells to continue the loop. It can only connect with 1. And the same would be true if purple was red and red was purple. That cell would get cut off. So this is not the arrangement. Those are not red and purple. They are green. They are 3 and 4, in fact, just as discussed. This one is red or purple, as are these 2. Now, I don't know whether it's 1 here and 9 on the ends or the other way round, but I do know that this shape is right. And let's just get rid of the corner marks there. Let's put in 1, 9 possibilities. And it is the loop rule that has told me this, which is fascinating. Now, this is in the loop, so it's got to connect up to those 2 cells. This is in the loop, so it's got to connect up to those 2 cells. I was going to make them all green, but I cannot afford to do that. What? Let's make this a big old, I don't know, what colour line? Blue might obscure pencil marks. I'm going to go with sort of gold. There we go. We're going to do a gold loop and hope you can see that against the background. Anyway, what I'm now saying, oops, I didn't mean to do that, is that these cells, they can't contain a 1 because they're on the loop, but they could contain a 9, so I can't colour them green, which I'd love to do. The 1 is now in one of these 2 cells in the box. Now, let's do some more. So, just as the central 5 cells are green for a number over 30, this cell is green for a number over, I think it's 21, because once you get over 21 in a row, that has to be a sandwich of at least 4 cells, because 8, 7, and 6 are the maximum 3, and they add up to 21. Once you're sandwiching 4 cells, it's got to include this central cell. Even if you started there or ended here, you would include that. So that's green. This is green in the 25 row for the same reason. And that's all I can do. Now, yes, of course, these cells, they cannot be ones because they would hem in the loop into the corner. So those are both 9s, and I'm colouring them purple, and this is the 1 and is red. And I'm going to stick to this colouring throughout, although I imagine I'll be doing a certain amount of red-purple colouring. Now, 13, we've got this row. This 9 is on a clue, so that's green. These are green because 13 is either 2 or 3 cells. Can't be 4 because 2, 3, 4, 5, the minima add up to 14. So 1 is now in one of these 2 cells. One of these is a red old 1, which is not that much help in the loop, unfortunately. I'd love to say that means 10 is impossible in this column if the 1 was here, but it doesn't, because that could be 2, 3, 5 with a 9 there. So, have we learnt anything else? Yes, I'll tell you something we've learned. These corner cells are both green, so the loop must go through them. It must go through all green and purple cells. And therefore, for the loop to hit the corner, the 2 cells it will then see are the 2 cells that the corner touches. So these cells can't be 1s as well. And since they can't be 9s, I can paint them green. And suddenly that's really interesting in this row, which has a 4-cell sandwich. But the crusts can now only be there and there to allow that. That's beautiful. So this is a 1. It's in the same box as a 9. This is a 9. And we've got progress. And that 1 is going to cause some loop constraints. Because this cell here, underneath the 1, is in the loop. We know which 2 cells that touches, and therefore loops to. And now, this is a technique I suspect we'll use a lot, because I've done some puzzles like this. I think they've been called Loop the Loop in a magazine that I used to occasionally get. But the point is that you find a lot of corners in the puzzles. And a corner can only connect to 2 cells, just as the corner of the grid could. This cell, row 8, column 2, has become a corner, and the 2 cells it connects to are above it and to its left. And that gives us a corner here, which can't be a 1 because we've had a 1 in the box. In fact, I can make those green because they see a 9 and a 1. So we created a corner in this cell. Now, for instance, this row 6, column 2, this is not a corner yet because it could connect to the left and up and down. So we don't know any of those. It's got a choice of 3 places for its 2 connections. However, row 7, column 3 here, this is a corner. So that must sit like that. Oh, God, I thought I'd broken it for a moment. So I can now tell that these 3 cells don't contain a 1. But this row needs a 29 sandwich, which is at least 5 cells. 8, 7, 6, and 5, the maxima, add up to 26. So the sandwiched digits are at least 5 cells. Now, if we didn't put a 9 in one of those 2, then they'd all be green. The furthest apart you could get 2 crusts would be in those cells, and you'd only be sandwiching 4 cells between them, and it would be broken. Which is what I sort of thought was happening when I thought these couldn't be 1 or 9. They can't be 1 because the loop goes through them. Therefore, one of them is 9. And therefore, the 1 is somewhere over this side. There are at least 5 cells. Actually, what I could have done at the start is greened all of those. I forgot, I suppose, what the number is that takes you from 5 greens where it's over 30. 3 greens if it's over 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5, 26. Yeah, so those are all green. Anyway, we've now got a 1 in one of these cells. And the outies in this row, 35 minus 29 is 6. So they're either one cell of 6 being an outie or a 2-4 pair. So the only way for this to be a 9 is if this is 1 and this is a 4-2 pair. And that does look possible. For that to be a 9, though, we could have 1 there with a 4-2 pair or 1 here with a 6 there. So I don't quite know how the rest of that is going to work. And I don't... Okay, let's move on to some other sandwich clue. Because despite 29 being apparently a very helpful number... Oh, look at this. Sorry. You've been looking at column 8 and shouting for a while. And I've just spotted it. 6 is... Oh, no, this is really useful that we've put these 1 pencil marks in. 6 is the sandwich number, so that is clearly in the sandwich. These are clearly out of it because the sandwich is either a 2-4 making 6 or a single 6 making 6. However, we now know that 1 can't go here because of the pencil marking we just did here. So that's not a 9 or a 1. We can put the 1 in there. This is a 6. We've finished that sandwich clue. The 1 goes red. These get no digit. They are in fact green now. This can't be a 9 because we only get 4 cells. So that loses its pencil mark. It gains a colour. And this becomes 9. There we go. Now, these 2 cells see a 9 and a 1. So they go green. This is the outie in row 6. 29 from 35 leaves 6. So that's a 6. And we are rocking a bit now. So, oh yeah, that's nice. This 6 cell that I'm in is in the loop. So we're going to do a bit of loop logic. The cells that connects to are above and below it. So the loop runs through there. And what that tells us about this cell is that it is not a 1. Because 1 is never on the loop. So that's green. This is the 1 and is red. Ah, this is lovely, isn't it? This is so clever. Yeah, let's just keep going. We're going to get a 1 in one of those 2 cells. Now, let's do a bit of loop action because we created a corner where this other 6 is. So that must join up like that. This corner in row 8, column 9 joins like that. This comes out. Now we've got a corner below the 1. Now we've... Oh, no. I was going to say this is a corner, but quite the opposite. There is a 1 in one of these 2 cells. Yeah, it's got to be, I think it's got to be here now. Because if you put a 1 here, that cell would get cut off. Yeah, so this is not a 1. This is a 1. And we get a sandwich crust digit through loop logic, which is fun. It's fun to me. Now, this column with a 9 in, bingo. Since that is too near the 1 to be the other crust, we've got to go at least that far away. That's also as far away as we can go. That must be the 9. The sandwich is a 2, 3, 4 set. And these digits go green because they see a purple and a red cell. So does that one. Hang on. Yeah, that's true. That goes green, and this is purple in this box. And these 2 are going to add up to 10 without using a 6. 2, 8 or 3, 7. I haven't placed any more 1s, so I can't do more loopy bits as far as I know. But I've fulfilled a few more sandwich clues. Now, what else have I got? Oh, these all go green because they are in a column with a 1, 9. So are those. Could have done those ages ago. None of the rows 1, 4 or 5 have a sandwich clue. This row does, though. And we cannot squeeze the 2 crusts into that area, so the 1 is going here. And that's red, and that is a helpful cell. So 21, it could be 6 cells, or it could be as few as 3. It's the maximum number for 3 cells. They would be 6, 7 and 8 with a 9 here. there's lots of ways of doing 4 cells. There's only one way of doing 5 cells, which would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 with an 8, 6 pair of outies. But although I can't tell where the 9 goes at all, at least I know the 1 goes here. So there's a 1 in one of these 2 cells. I'm wondering if the loop logic is going to tell me which one. I don't think it's obvious at the moment. Oh, I do. It's beautifully obvious. This can't be a 1 because the sandwich of 10 in column 5 then would be either those 2 or those 3 cells, and that would put a 9 here or here, which is clearly utter bobbins. We can't have that. So this is not a 1. The 1 up here is here. So I'm doing it by sandwich, which frankly I find preferable rather than by loop logic, which I find a bit harder. Anyway, this can't be a 1 or a 9 because it sees them both. So the 9 in this column is down here. I feel that we're about to finish, or maybe not. There's a 9 in one of those cells. And in one of these cells, it's a weird X-wing that for some reason my mouse is not working correctly. I can't tab. Now, those can't be 1s or 9s anymore. That can't. So I've got an X-wing on 1s as well. Maybe the loop is going to help with that, although maybe not yet. Okay, let's do some loop logic with this new 1 that we've got. We've created a corner on its left and a corner on its right. We've got a corner in the corner of the grid. So that goes around here. That's got to extend out. We've got a corner under this 1. That creates a corner over this 1. There's also a corner above these 2 1s, and we're getting a lot of this bottom right bit of the loop. There's a corner down here in row 9, column 5. That creates a corner in row 8, column 4. And we're getting a lot of the bottom left loop. This comes up here. We've got another corner created. And this can't join up because there is only one loop in the puzzle. So if that joined up, it would make the rest of the loop segments into a second or more. So that goes up. This doesn't necessarily go left, it could go up, so not sure. Oh, look, there's a corner with this 9 in as well. Oh, and there's a corner here beside the 1. Wow, that creates a new corner here. That creates a corner in the top row. This looks like a corner in row 3, column 6, yes. Join it up like that. Now, these mustn't join up or they'd connect that loop. And now, that hasn't told me anything about 9. It's 1s that the loop tells me about, not 9s. Oh, strange. I might have to do some sandwich Sudoku instead. That could still... Oh, sorry. I wasn't meant to be doing that line. There we go. I'm in the wrong mode. That could still be 8, 7, 6 with a 9 here. No, this can't be a 9 because the 10 sum won't work. You'd only have 1 digit. So that's not a 9, nor is that. I'm going to finish off these 9s now, just like that. Now, 10 could be 2 cells or a 2, 3, 5 triple. Okay, that hasn't actually helped with the loop at all, but I did see something a moment ago. I saw this 25 sandwich clue. Yes, there's 2 ways of looking at this. The harder way, in a way, would be to go the maximum for those 3 cells are 8, 7, 6. That leaves a required 4, so it must be an 8, 7, 6, 4 group. But the slightly easier way would be to subtract 25 from 35, and the outies have to add up to 10, and 3 cells not including a 1 that add up to 10 are 2, 3, 5. So it does the same job, it just does it in a different way. 4 there, 6, 7, 8 group. Those can't have a 4 in now. Oh, we've got the sandwich here. It's not 3, 4, it's 5, 2. So that 7 is done. Oh, we've got 20 here. Now, let's do the trick again. Subtract that from 35. The outies add up to 15. That's that pair, which must be an 8-7 pair. That makes this cell a 6. We can do 3 in the box there. This total is 13, so that can't be a 7, or we'd need another 3 there. That's lovely logic. So 8 there, 2 there. We've finished box 8 completely. That becomes an 8. Now this pair is not 8-2, so it must be 3-7. That's become a 3, so that sorts out the 7-3. Still got the ones to do, and no, oh no, we do have this clue. Right, this cannot be 2-3-5. So it's a 2-cell clue. That goes red, so that's red. These are green and don't have a 1 in. These reds obviously do have a 1 in. And now that we've got all the ones done, we must be able to finish the loop. So I'm going to try and do that. So this loop continues here. It can't connect up, or it would cut off a portion of loop. We've got a corner here. That gives us a corner in row 3. This again can't connect up, or we'd have a northern loop and a southern loop. So they come down. That goes further down. We've got a corner next to the 1. This has to come out of its corner. We've got, oh no, hang on. We don't have a corner next to this one. This is coming down though. And now we probably finish off the loop by making sure it doesn't connect up to itself, which would happen. We'd have a southeast loop if we ran down from the central cell. So we run across there, and then we finish the loop like that. And that is the loop part of the puzzle done. It won't contribute anymore because it's finished. It has contributed significantly to establishing where the ones are. And the rest, my friends, is sandwich Sudoku. So let's go row by row. If those add up to 21, these add up to 14 to make up the 35 sum. That's a 6-8 pair. This clue is done because we know the outie. This clue is done because we know the innies and that and that. Oh, this one's done because we know the outies and this one. Right, this pair adds up to 10. I think this is the last clue we have left to get anything useful from. It can't be 6-4 or 3-7. It's a 2-8 pair. We actually know which way round they go because of that 6-8 pair. So 2 and 8 there. We get a 6 here because that 6 can't be in those cells, which are now 4, 5 and 7. That can't be a 5. This is a 2-3 pair. We know the order thanks to that 2. This is now a 3-5 pair. These are 4, 7 and 8, and the first one can't be a 4. Ah, this is a 4-7 pair, and we have a 7 telling us which way round. This is a 2-8-5 triple. This one can't be 2, and that one can't be 8. 8 in this column we can put in here so it's not clashing in box 2. We have a 5, 6, 7 triple. We also have a 3, 4 pair in the box, and we can do them. These are 3, 5 and 7, so that is a naked 5. It sees 3 and 7 in the column. Tidying up the pencil marks as we go, which is not always something I'm good at. 5 and 7 there, looking down on this cell, so we can get a 4 there. Now, these two are a 2-6 pair. 4, 7 and 8. That is a 7. It's basically naked again. Well, because it sees the 2-6 pair in the box anyway, and everything else in either the horizontal or the diagonal. That's a 4-8 pair, but the 7 has sorted out this 5-7 pair. I think I'll come back to this box. These are from 2, 5 and 6. 9, 6, 8, 4, 1, 3. 2 in this box goes in the corner. We can do 5 and 7 there. This is not 7. So we've got a 6 in this corner looking up at this 8-6 pair. That makes this a 7. 1, 9, 7. This is 3 or 5 in the column. 3 up there is looking down on this 5-3 pair. That can't be a 5. Oh, that didn't finish off anything there. 759, that 5 is looking at this cell. Right, that does the triple in the row, that does the row beneath. Now, this is a 7-4 pair we can write in. This is a 3-6 pair we can write in. It makes this a 5. Not 5 here, not 6 here. This is a naked 4, and we're going to finish off now. And this hasn't been quite as hard as I was expecting, but I mean, a great deal of fun and a very clever setup for a puzzle. I hope the colours I used weren't too awful for you. It's difficult to find contrasts between 3 colours in the grid and a loop that runs through 2 of those colours. I could probably have done better as regards that. I'm not unhappy with the solve as regards the puzzle. It's a very clever idea. Sandwich Sudoku combined with a loop works very neatly, and I loved the fact that the positioning of the ones couldn't be done at first without using the loop. That's very clever, but then the loop couldn't be completed without having worked on the sandwiches and positioned the ones further. Really nice puzzle. Thank you to Pietatu for sending that, and thank you as always for watching us on the channel. It is an absolute pleasure and privilege to have your company, and we hope to see you again soon. Do remember the Kickstarter if you were going to at the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.